What's up, guys? IL's Dan Kaplan here with the IL film breakdown. I'm jacked up for this one. It's a really special edition here as we get close to the PLL championship. This time, we're going to go ahead and look at both sides of the ball for the Archers as they took down the Redwoods. All right, and we're going to have a close eye here offensively on Grant Ament and a close eye defensively on Warren Jefferey. So what do you say, guys? Let's get to it.
All right, Archer's film review, and I'm jacked up to get into it. Starting right away with their first possession here, and we're going to get a pass down, pick down look in transition with the O-mid defending. If you look up at the top here, you can kind of sense Fields and O'Keefe up there at the top kind of getting into slow mode. But as soon as you see this action here happen with Ament and Bond, and we get this switch, their demeanor totally changes. Now you see guys starting to move. O'Keefe starts directing traffic. Fields is over there moving on the backside. And boom, right away we get a really good look. Probably had Bond one more inside, but Fields is a shoot first guy. I think we'll be all right with living with that if we're the Archers there. So a great first touch, right? Really getting something dangerous right away. And again, right away on the second possession here of the game, Archers are forcing the Redwoods O-mids to have to play great pick defense. This time, Ament comes up the left hash. He's able to stick one. And this is huge for his game, right? As a feed-first player, to be able to come up, hit an unassisted goal. Boyle mentions that he's shooting just 5% off the dodge before that. So that's going to open things up. That's a huge goal for not just Grant, but the Archers offense. And the broadcast gets an awesome replay here. Up above, you can see everybody's keeping their defender occupied. Nobody's clearly hot, right? And now Grant's able to come up, take advantage of it, and stick this thing back to the near pipe. Kind of looks like Jack Kelly is leaning to the far pipe or expecting this thing to be a release to that far pipe, and then Grant's able to just yank it back with that left hand. Our next clip doesn't end up in the back of the net, but it's definitely worth highlighting. Here we get the Archers out of a 2-2-2. We have Schreiber up top working, and Ament down on that right pipe. Here we're going to get him curling to the ball, and our inside two are going to give us a really good action. On the backside there, we have O'Keefe fading to 2, and inside we have Ambler setting a little seal. And this is going to get us a really dangerous look right away. The ton of backside space, and O'Keefe stepping in from 2. I think the Archers are certainly happy living with this every time that they can get. And if you've been watching this with the Archers defense in mind, knowing that they've held this Redwoods O scoreless for significant periods of time this season, fear not, we have plenty of these clips as well. And right here, we're going to get an awesome clip from Warren Jefferey being really decisive on that pipe, sliding up the field, and disrupting Garnsey, who's made a living off of these types of plays this season, where he can get underneath and make something dangerous happen. Here, Jeffrey's going to be really decisive, come up, put the ball on the ground, and be really clean through this, right? And this is a great play. We're going to spend a decent amount of time throughout this video with Warren Jefferey guarding Pinnell, and he puts on a masterclass on exactly when he should show, when he should stay, and just owning that position. This is execution at its finest. We'll start in the defensive end and we'll end in the offensive end. Here you can see right away they're prioritizing the crease and making Westberg's job tough. All right, and the Redwoods offense is going to rely on a lefty alley dodge over there and Jules Henningberg clearing through. And the guy to watch here for the Archers defense is actually Challen Rogers here right at the top. He's going to play this perfectly and is going to be a huge part of this stop and sparking the transition. And so right here on this clear through, Jules does a great job of getting in and kind of sets a back or a butt pick. Challen's prepared for it, though, steps up off of that, is able to get a stick on the shot, and then there's not many better players in the league for this exact situation of sparking offense, right? Team-wise, everybody's on point here. Grant's immediately communicating to the trailer. Piper Bond fills that space. He's got one more to Grant. Grant's got one more down to the pipe to Fields, and that thing ends up in the back of the net. And so this is just awesome execution from the Archers. It starts with awesome team defense and ends with a good one more. And these guys score in bunches, and they score in a variety of ways. Here you get a quick peek at the time and score, and Archers have already scored once in 6-on-6. They've scored in transition, and now they're going to score in sub games. And it just takes such a tiny, tiny advantage in the sub for a guy like Schreiber to be able to catch it with a full head of steam and plenty of space in front of him. So a huge piece of the Archers' identity offensively is being able to connect in these sub games, or at least put pressure on right away in shot clocks. Archer's offense, end line restart. We'll get a quick peep at the time and score. We're late clock here, so keep that in mind as this is playing out. Ament's going to take his right hand. We get a half step inside and a jam that's a little bit behind and low. This is the most important part of the clip, though, particularly as the archers prepare for the water dogs and their transition. Right here, Ament, one of the high three. So he's dropping into the hole, has no problem getting in and playing some defense, making sure that the Redwoods aren't able to get anything in transition. It had to have been a huge piece of the puzzle here for them defensively, knowing that 6-on-6 they were incredible. So have to defend in transition, and that was pretty good there from Ament, being the one that goes from feeding and a dodge from X to actually dropping into the hole and defending transition. Archers close the quarter out with an awesome all-around team play that gives them a great boost heading into the second quarter here. And it starts in the defensive end and ends in the back of the net. Warren Jeffery does a great job of just playing Pennell with patience. Connor Mayer, as the guy guarding the picker, does a great job of kind of hedging and making Pennell's job tough right here. And Jeffery does a great job of playing this with patience and creating savable shots. Savable shots for the Archers and in general in the PLL always create tough situations in transition and early offense. This one will be no different. Here we're going to end up with a big little situation at X, and the Archers are going to make sure this thing ends up in the back of the net. And so Connor Mayer, who was on one end defending the pick, now realizes he has the opportunity to go work with Ament at X. And Cohen is doing the opposite of Jeffrey, going out and playing Ament all the way out in space, where now he's going to be able to run by him and make something good happen. The timing up above it from the Archers is great and is a huge piece of the puzzle here. So back at X, we'll get that action. And then inside, O'Keefe will fade while Fields just kind of front cuts and finds space floating. And that's going to be all he needs for a quick release to find the back of the net. And again, this is excellent execution from start to finish for the Archers. Starts with great team defense on one end and ends with really, really fluent team offense on the other end. Archers give one up. Let's talk about it. Right here, we get a quick peek at the time and score. So Redwoods are needing it, right? Desperation mode as the season's on the line. Pennell does a good job of going hard, sloughs the defense. Jeffrey does a good job of playing that pretty well. What it does do is creates a little bit of a switch there. So now we have an undersized Connor Mayer on a big Romar. You guys let me know in the comments if you think Warren Jeffrey should have slid there. One of the oldest plays in the book, the give and go. And the Archers connect on it perfectly here, so let's take a look and see exactly how it happened. And what we'll see is it's not necessarily only Eppel over pursuing here that creates this advantage, but the Archers short stick D-mids do an awesome job of moving and occupying Redwoods defenders off ball that don't allow anybody to suck up in that space. And so right here you see Mayer doing a good job of moving, Bond doing a good job of moving, and those guys are occupying defenders in Henningberg and Grant. Those guys otherwise would be able to step into the crease, kind of defend the paint, but because they're moving and occupying those defenders, they're preoccupied and they're not so worried about O'Keefe's cut. And we'll get a really good look at it from the end line here in a hot second here when the broadcast switches for us. But again, when we do get that, keep an eye on Mayer setting a pickup at top center and Bond moving in the backside here, which is occupying those Redwoods defenders. And now Ament and O'Keefe have all the space that they need to be able to connect. And as we know, it doesn't take too much space, but when you give them that much space, it's pretty much automatic. Archers give one up. Let's talk about it. We're going to get pretty good action here from the Redwoods with Rob Pennell coming up and kind of slipping a screen here. And Jules is going to take his right hand and throw back, and Pennell's going to go ahead and attack the switch. We mentioned earlier that these two, Challen and Warren, do a good job of holding matchups. This time they switch, and that's one thing, but when the switch does happen, we sometimes got to be ready to support here. And I think any of the three of these guys could have gone and flushed the ball out of a stick, and you don't end up having this happen. But Pennell's going to be able to find a pretty good look there on a short stick against just about any short stick in the league, right? And so in that situation, when you do have switches, I think that's what the Archers learn here from the film, is that when we have a switch, we're going to have to be ready to support, and sometimes that means just going early and flushing it out of a stick. More Archers defending two-man actions, and Challen and Warren will do a good job here. They stay on the same page, and this is important, right? They could have switched. It seemed like Challen was ready, but they did a great job of resisting it, and now Warren's able to keep his matchup, ride Pennell into less dangerous space, and the whole goal here is creating savable shots for one of the best goalies in the world who's playing extremely well right now. Archers give one up. Let's talk about it. And here we're going to have TD win this thing forward for the Redwoods, come straight down the middle and score. And we're not necessarily just showing this because it's one of the goals that the Redwoods scores, but we're going to take a peek. We're going to remember this, and we're going to come back to see if the archers slide next time he goes forward. Yeah, guys, I love this clip. We're going to get a look at, top to bottom here, side to side, full field of the archers. And we're starting defensively again with Warren Jeffery playing Rob Pennell with great patience. And we're going to get a really timely double here from Jared Connor stepping down the field as Pennell is looking for an outlet at X that never comes. And archers like to push this pace, and so we're going to get a little look in transition. Ultimately, nothing comes of it, and these guys will slow down and quickly get into a 6-on-6 set. And I think that's the ultimate point of this clip, is how seamlessly they go from phase to phase to phase, right? Defense to the clear to pushing transition. Now for some sub games, right? Nothing comes of it, and we're going to get right into a long dodge that's immediately dangerous and keeps this offense fluent, right? And so Oghaven does a good job of attacking that alley. Matt Moore showing at X, you have an outlet. Grant's coming up, he's going to slip it, doesn't want to bring Epple to the matchup, right? And so they're all just kind of working for each other, and they've had the Redwoods a little bit on their heels from the very second they get the ball up until this first break with a shot wide at 15 seconds in the shot clock. And here comes the next phase, right? Now we're getting a pick going to Grant, end line reset, big little situation, and these guys are really good at this, right? Up above, they're moving. It's all timely, and the Redwoods have elected to defend this by gluing up, right? And so Grant does a good job of reading that. He sees he has to be a scorer here, and he finds the back of the net on that matchup. And you can see what it means to him there, too. This is a big play for him. Boyle mentioned it in the broadcast, 5% shooting off the dodge. That's a big goal. And a really impressive clip that kind of shows the archers executing in different phases of the game there. I warned you that it was coming. TD with another push forward, and now he's pushing a 4v3 fast break. Warren Jeffery there is the point guy for the archers, and he flushes the ball out of his stick, right? Simple adjustment, but smart, and the type of thing that the archers are going to have to do Sunday to make sure that they walk away with the championship. More archers defense, and we love to highlight the simplicity that Warren Jeffery plays with. It's simple but highly effective, and right here he's just eating space on the alley. Does a good job of playing Pennell's hands, and we're clean on this first-time ground ball, and the archers are out the other way. That's certainly a theme within this film that you'll find. Archers are really clean in their own end on ground balls. The Redwoods are very rarely coming up with second-chance opportunities in their offensive end. Right at the start of the fourth quarter here, time and score, we are late. The archers can almost taste it. Redwoods have a little bit of life with an EMO opportunity, and the archers take nothing for granted. Filling to the crease here, doing a good job of making that tough on Westberg, and this is it. Your all-pro goalie here is diving to win a 50-50 ground ball, a chase out. It's tight. Garnsey doesn't like it, but the archers are going the other way. Archer's defense really sunk its teeth in and kind of put a stranglehold on this Redwoods offense for the rest of the game. It's really tight. They make things tough on them the entire way. And here we get one more example of it where Warren Jeffery will do a good job on ball. They're able to show and double a little bit off of that cut, and they're doing a really good job of clogging the two-point line. It's the only way that the Redwoods would have any sort of hope throughout the fourth quarter was to start stacking twos on top of each other, and the Archers do a good job there of defending the two-point arc. And then on the other end, they actually end up with one more for their own two, and this kind of seals the deal. And not only does it seal the deal on this game, but Grant Ament then also sets his own career record for points in a single game. So this was a great showing for the Archers from top to bottom, all the way across the board, and obviously they are moving on because of it. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. That'll do it for the Archers film review. If you like this style of content, please be sure to rate, review, subscribe, send the link to a friend, all that good stuff. This is going to be a huge week for PLL coverage, so be sure to keep an eye out for plenty of championship content.